Hello and welcome to another episode of Earth911 Sustainability in Your Ear. I'm Mitch Ratcliffe. Hey, we're back with another innovator interview. We're going to be talking with Stu Lawrence, who's the CEO of CleanWell. CleanWell makes a botanical-based natural home cleaning product suite, and we've been using those around the house now for a long time, and you can read a new review that we've just posted on the site. CleanWell uses a plant-based disinfectant called Thymol. That's been recognized as an antiseptic for centuries, but in laboratory tests, it killed 99.99% of the germs and viruses on which it was tested. And the EPA recently certified it for use against the virus that causes COVID-19. CleanWell is great because it doesn't use alcohol, bleach, ammonia, phosphates, or quaternary ammonium, all common ingredients in home cleaning products that can cause harm ranging from being poisonous to being a source of endocrine system disruption and water pollution. We found the spray disinfectant extremely effective, and we want to talk to Stu today about how the company came to be and also where they're going to be taking their plastic packaging. He's got some great ideas about spring household cleaning without toxic chemicals. Welcome to the show. How are you, Stu?
I'm doing pretty well. Thanks for having me, Mitch.
Well, hey, first, we've been using the CleanWell botanical disinfectant, the lemon scented spray and wipes around the house, and they work great. I know that CleanWell was founded with a basic commitment to environmental responsibility. How'd the company come to be founded? And I know it was before your time, but what drove the environmental focus?
Yeah, actually, like a lot of stories, it was a personal story with the founder whose son had an autoimmune disorder that he had to deal with, essentially. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that was advised to him was to the family was to remove any toxins from the house. So he and his mom developed the formula and using essential oils and different plant-based ingredients to essentially clean. And then they went through the whole disinfecting approval process, with the EPA to get registration and whatnot. Yeah.
Now, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it's about 15 years ago. So very much before, I would almost say before the time, if you will, before people were really focusing on plant options and sustainability like they are today, which is pretty cool.
Well, clearly everybody is paying attention now, and it's great. You guys are ready. Now, I was really impressed. You joined the company in 2016, and revenues jumped by 66% in the first year. So I want to know what is your secret for making a green product successful?
Yeah, I mean, those are great statistics, and I'd certainly like to just say it was all me, everything I did. But candidly, it was a number of things. The company had been going through some tough spots, and we were able to kind of right the ship and really enhance our focus on a few things. Our retail partners, which are critical to getting product to consumers. Innovation. We had some innovation at that time that we launched, which has been very well received, and just kind of an overall focus on product quality. We were under new ownership at the time, which is the current ownership, and they've been very supportive of a lot of our initiatives.
So tell us about Thymol. Why does it work?
Yeah, well, it's been around for centuries, as you know, and it's known in different forms. It's one of the active ingredients in a lot of essential oils. There are a lot of non-regulated products out there that have claims that are essential oil based, and a lot of them actually have Thymol in them. And I mean, some of how it works is proprietary, as it's made in the overall formula. But essentially, it depends on the pathogen it's going after, by breaking down the barriers and essentially killing the nucleus of the pathogen. So yeah, and we, you spoke to this earlier. We have to go through all the same third-party testing and regulatory tape that everyone does with the EPA, which is just cumbersome but important to be in place.
So Thymol is derived from the thing that makes thyme smell like it does, and it has a very distinct scent. It's sure one does. In the lemon scent, you still get this kind of earthy undertone, and for my wife, it took a little getting used to, but I think after a couple of days, it was clearly a fresh smell. Now, I want to ask a couple of questions about the use. How long do you need to let the spray sit on something? Because the packaging says let it stand for a few minutes. What's the right amount of time for something to be sterilized?
Yeah, it's interesting. So there's sort of a minimum kill time or dwell time, if you will, with the EPA in order to get registration, which is 10 minutes. And that's a long time, right, for something to stay wet. And if you're in a dry, arid area, it might not stay wet for that long because water is a large component of the formula.
Sure.
And that's the case with pretty much any disinfectant. But that's the testing you need to prove up front. And then after that, you can do extra tests that can be approved by the EPA. And that's actually something we're working on so that we can legitimately or approved to tell consumers, hey, you only need to let it sit for, say, 2 minutes or 5 minutes. And that's the testing we're just wrapping up now. And we'll be able to roll out here in the near future with the EPA.
I'm sure you can't say exactly how long it is, but is it shorter than you thought?
It is. It is actually. Yep. And the company hadn't previously done the testing. And candidly, I don't think, unfortunately, and this is a challenge we're going through now, consumers don't read labels. And I don't think they're aware of a lot of the things you're supposed to do with products like disinfectants. And with COVID, that awareness is changing. And we're expecting it to change coming out of this current situation, this pandemic, quite a bit more with people reading labels. So it's even more important to educate folks on the use of products, I feel.
Well, it's sure the case that we're going to have cleaner homes. Everybody is aware of it. And hopefully we can clean up the environment while we're at it.
Yeah.
Now, since it's a botanical, can this cause any allergic reactions?
We don't have that. We very closely monitor and have for years our consumer inquiries. Essential oils, plant-based ingredients, et cetera, at a very low level within, it's very strong active and at a very low level within our product. So we don't see adverse reactions. You might have someone who feels something on an open cut, and that's very rare. And I'll even test that on myself sometimes to make sure. That's often not the active ingredient. That might be something else. But fortunately, we have maybe 1 complaint, 2 complaints a year, very few. And sometimes it's, I sprayed it in my eye and it didn't feel good. Well, okay, that's not the goal. That's not the use directions. But we really don't have that.
I'm struck by that. I had a college professor who would demonstrate the safety of pesticides by taking a big spoonful of it on day 1 of the class. He later died of cancer, unfortunately.
Oh my.
I'm glad that your eye survived.
Yeah, right.
Now, we're coming up on spring cleaning, and a lot of traditional household cleaning ingredients are just plain bad. What should we be looking to avoid in products generally?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. While I should be comfortable with it, I don't love talking about competitive ingredients or products. I think it's certainly a personal choice where people want to go. I think, spring cleaning may look different this year, right? And we're emerging from this current situation, and people are using cleaning products and disinfectants at a much higher rate. And I think with that, they're seeing adverse effects with, for example, using a chlorine or bleach-based product, right? Whether it's whitening the sleeves of your shirt or actually stinging your hands, or as my kids have experienced who've been in person in school, their skin's starting to peel using a quat-based product multiple times throughout the day. So I think frequency is something to be cautious of if you're using a conventional product. Read the directions. Read the directions. I wish we could send a note to every single house saying, just read the back panel, because I think that's one of the biggest differentiators for our product is that we don't have warning label. We don't have warnings on our label. We're the EPA, because of our lowest toxicity rating, we don't need to. And what I mean by that is wear protective gloves, eyewear, change your clothes after disinfecting. Most products out there have those claims and consumers don't realize it. Another one is most surface disinfectants, you have to actually clean after you disinfect the surface if it's a food contact. So
remove the stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, I remember first learning about that joining the company 5 years ago or so. And I remember going home and having a conversation at the dinner table, and we were shocked by it. But wait a minute, it says cleaner and disinfectant. But wait a second, how does that work? I have to do twice the kitchen counters? Not going to do it. And I think people don't realize that and therefore don't do it. So whatever those toxins are in that product, have the risk of getting right into your food source. So that's another big advantage to our products and even some others with a greener spin to things and using food contact safe ingredients. And this is all stuff that has to be approved, by the EPA as well. It's not just us saying it.
Really striking. So with a traditional cleaner, you're really talking about clean, disinfect, and then decontaminate. Whereas you don't have to decontaminate with your product.
Right. Right. That's another way to put it. I agree. Yep.
Okay. Now, one of the ways that we used clean with a spray recently was out on our patio furniture to sort of clean up the grime after the wintertime. What are the other uses that beyond the kitchen that you recommend CleanWell that people try it?
Yeah, I mean, technically it is proven as a disinfectant for hard non-porous surfaces. That's a technical term, not necessarily a household term, but it's pretty straightforward. Anything hard non-porous you can use to clean and to disinfect. And one of the nice things is whether it's a children's toy, something like that, you can also use it. And we know there's risk of that going into kids' mouths, things like that. In terms of actual cleaning, because it is also a cleaner, you can use that on other surfaces. We personally can't claim that it's also an active disinfectant. Sure. On the label to use it for that. I would say with any sort of surface that a consumer is concerned about, test it in a small area. We again, back to consumer complaints, we don't have people calling in and saying, oh, the oils ate away at my fake leather chair or something. We don't have that, but it's always worth making sure that you have a surface that might have a coating that we've never tested against, that you do it in a sort of hidden area or whatnot. But we use it on, in our house, we use it on pretty much everything, whether it's the fridge, the countertop, the cabinets. We haven't experienced any issues, and our testing supports that as well.
I've been thinking about using the disinfectant wipes in my car. Would it be okay to use this on leather?
I do. Again, leather as a disinfectant, would be considered a porous surface. Uh-huh. So technically, we would not be able to make the claim that it's a disinfectant. It sure works great as a cleaner. I use wipes pretty frequently in my Jeep that gets quite dirty quite often, especially with teenagers in and out of it.
Now, the area that is a concern for me is you use plastic packaging. And the plastic packaging is very much single use. You don't seem to have a refill program. Are you thinking about adopting either bioplastic packaging or some form of a refill program so we could reuse the first spray bottle we buy?
If I could write an answer to you, it would be all caps, yes, in bold. It's very important to us. It's challenging, however. When you have, say, bio-based is one of the sort of ultimate, right? So the end line would be less or no plastic, bio-based, biodegradable. That's the end game. Compostable, exactly. The problem is we don't have a solution out there to get there yet. And I can talk a little bit about some of the hurdles there. So I think, like anything, I feel strongly you can have a longer target, but baby steps are ideal. So what we like to look at is ability to go into PCR, which for listeners that don't know is post-consumer cycle, which basically means it's being used yet again. So it's been recycled, it's using again, which I'm assuming your listeners know probably as much or more about that than I do.
Better than
what's that?
Better than most people.
Yeah, no, I would assume so. So PCR is a great step because at least then you have a life cycle that continues on versus going right into, say, a landfill. So that's something we continue to test. One of the things that's very important for a product like ours with an active ingredient is we have to deal with stability. And we often have to put things into 2-year testing for that. So many straight up cleaners, their stability is more around the look and the fragrance remaining stable. For us, it's about the active ingredient, knowing that it's going to kill for the life of the product. So we have to do pretty extensive testing on that. And we have a lot of different systems in place to do that. So we are working on it. This past year, a lot of our focus transparently was on getting supply out, getting components. We stood by, our product quality the whole time, but we had to shift some of our focus internally to just straight out supply.
Have you been facing shortages in, for instance, spray bottle components?
Oh yeah, everything. I mean, it's a daily, the supply chain piece is a daily, weekly hurdle that we have to cross, whether it's finding a container, if we're bringing something from offshore, which we try to avoid. But there are certain things that just have to be shipped in, whether it's from France or different parts of the world. Most of our stuff our components are US sourced. with the demand last year, we had to be a little bit flexible in that. But also when you've got infinite demand, which is what really we had for much of last year, that's pretty much impossible to meet. So we were producing as much as we possibly could, just like everyone. Every manufacturer in this space was faced with the same hurdles. So if it was trigger sprayers one week, it was bottles the next week, and then amazingly, the storms in Texas caused a resin shortage for a short amount of time. So there's always something coming at us during a time like this. So it was a pretty challenging year. What's that?
Life these days is never dull.
No, there's a lot of truth there.
Now, let's dig a little more into on the materials. So what I hear you saying is that it'll take a couple of years to test whatever solutions you may develop. So, and you're working on it. Are you thinking in terms of changing the packaging itself, or are you looking at refilling the existing packaging as a strategy as well?
Right. So on the first point, the existing packaging, I mean, we have to take into consideration every little element, and some we can get around, some we can't, in terms of even the color and how much it can be used in its afterlife, right? Being recycled. Some colors don't have a demand, say a clear or a blue bottle doesn't have the demand to be recycled and then sold again, right? So then it's not going to be recycled. And again, you would know a great deal about this. As we look forward, when I talk about a 2-year horizon, we've got a number of things underway to be looking at this. So we've got a little bit of a head start, but there are other options like concentrates that we want to look at, right? And some people are getting into this space. They're going with that on the cleaner side. The challenge is quality control. And we take that very seriously. So leaving it up to a household without scientific instrumentation, to measure the amount of water and use non-contaminated water that would interact, say, with the active or other ingredients, we take that seriously, and there is some risk to that. So that's something we're also evaluating as we go forward.
Could a concentrate take a tablet form?
Yeah, I would love that. Right. I would love that. We have not solved that challenge yet with our active ingredients. There is one out there that is doing a similar thing, but again, you have the control of the water source that you're using. We use a specific pure deionized water, so it's not something you have at your house, nor do you have the instrumentation to measure. Okay. Yeah, no, it certainly doesn't. But your other question about refill, right? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And with a couple of our partners, we do make larger, gallon size or even larger than that for more commercial use. And that is absolutely a goal. There are a lot of complexities to that, distribution, retailers actually taking that in. You'll notice in a store, there aren't pre-COVID, let me put that caveat out there wasn't a great deal of larger format. It was a lot of convenience, mm-hmm. spray trigger, et cetera. That's evolving. And with that, we're evolving. We do have some larger formats with a couple of our partners that we make product for, and have looked at there are a lot of different angles, where you can, especially online sales, where you can sell bottles of product and a trigger sprayer that can be moved from bottle to bottle. That would be, again, sort of a baby step towards a better solution. So there are a few different approaches that we're evaluating to go after that.
Now, of course, the EPA did certify CleanWell as effective against COVID-19, the virus. And as you've explained, that has led to a massive increase in sales. What is the next act after the pandemic ends?
Right. I look at it as three things. When this pandemic started, it was survival mode. And then it was management mode. And now it's sort of what's next. And we're evaluating that right now. The market was inundated with off brands. When I say off brands, not your CleanWell or your 7th generation or whatnot, but brands that you've never heard of. And you're seeing that right now. If you go into the grocery store, you're seeing 20 feet of products you've never seen before.
And sanitizers by the most obscure organizations on earth.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. And the same with alcohol-based cleaning wipes and disinfectants. And I think what we're starting to see, there was a period of chaos where consumers would almost buy anything, right? if it was there, they'd get it. And a lot of for months there was nothing to even buy. So there was really no brand loyalty because you didn't have that option. Well, now we're coming out of that. Supply is starting to pick up. I think we're going to see consumers getting back to the loyal brands, reading the labels, seeing the warnings, et cetera, and some level of normalcy. So we're trying to read what that's going to look like. We think as people break into this new norm, if you will, we don't know what that looks like. There will be more knowledge and awareness of the use instructions. We think we're positioned uniquely and great for that to help consumers, keep the toxins out of their home.
Well, Stu, I want to thank you for taking time to talk to us today about CleanWell and everything that's been going on.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely, Mitch. Appreciate the opportunity and excited about your continued initiatives. So,
well, we will look forward to having you back to talk further. Folks, that's Stu Lawrence. He's the CEO of CleanWell. You can find CleanWell at cleanwelltoday.com. Cleanwelltoday.com, all one long word. And check out the spray disinfectant. That's the one we're using the most. We just love it. This is Earth911 Sustainability in Your Ear. I'm Mitch Ratcliffe, and we'll be back with another interview soon. In the meantime, folks, take care of yourself, take care of one another, and let's all take care of our beautiful planet. Have a green day.